And then when they go through immigration, they'll see, like, it's called a red notice. They'll see, like, basically it's an arrest warrant for this person in a friendly country. They'll detain that person. And we just had 2 of them on the Canadian border. It's been maybe a month now, but we went out in the middle of the night. They caught them on the Canadian border. They tried to come in. They were red noticed. They were scammers. We got a hold of them. In fact, I'm doing his phone right now. We just got a search warrant for his phone. He's got, so I'm, not to get too technical, but he had 7 SIM cards for his phone. So he's popping the SIMs out and putting, so basically he had 7 different telephone numbers for one phone. And I was able to extract all the data that he was using, and he was scamming. He was continuing the scam. So, legislatively, I guess I can't answer that question, but we definitely, if they're a community impact or there's a big deal about, we'll go after them. But these investigations, they're not like arresting a shoplifter, where like in 30, 45 days, it's all adjudicated and the person's either on probation or, back out. These are very long, complicated investigations.
The one we just had took us about 1.5 years to investigate. The individual was from Georgia, no real ties to Chautauqua County, but we were able to investigate that, track her down, and get her back into the state. So it does happen. It's not going to happen overnight. These are lengthy, detailed investigations, and that's why we encourage you to continue to report them. I will have to tell you, I learned something. John talked about the texting when somebody uses their ATM. I used my debit card to do a audio book when I was traveling. I forgot, so I got a notice from my banking institution asking me about it. I never did that. I don't know what happened because that company, it's Apple, they've never contacted me again, but they canceled that payment. So I got a free book. I'm not sure how to handle this. But I guess what I'm saying is, I would say err on the side of caution. You can always make up for that. I figured Apple gets enough money from me anyways, but that wasn't intentional. It was long after I realized, oh my gosh, I actually did make that purchase. But it wasn't something I recognized.
But again, they didn't ask for your social security number, your date of birth. They just said, is this your transaction?
But what I didn't trust that. I'm very skeptical. I guess my line of work. So I actually got online. I found the phone number for the actual institution, called them. We talked it over. I never really asked them if the text was accurate, but they shared the information. So no, I didn't make that charge. So, but you're right. When I went back and looked at that text, I probably still have it on my phone. There was no information. It just asked if the amount and location were accurate. Yes.
Well, I notice now on my computer, when I do a search, there's Chrome, and then there's, I can't remember the names of that.
So there's several search engines out there.
Okay.
Chrome is one of them.
Well, Chrome, when I get on Facebook or Outlook or my Social Security, whatever, I have to put in, myself, I have to put in my credentials. But on the other website, it's got all my credentials, so then you can get right into all my accounts.
Correct.
To me, that's not safe. How can I get away? How can I stop that?
That's a great question. You want to get Shay or Caleb to see if they can answer how you delete your credentials from Google? We have one more video that we're going to show while Heather's grabbing Shay. Jim wants to say something?
I was going to say something about, you guys can hear me, right? Loud voice. So websites. One of the worst things that Google ever did, in my opinion, is every time you open up, anybody here ever go to Google? Yeah. One of the worst things I think they ever did is every single day, the Google is different. Right? It's never the same every day. So someone can easily mock up something, and I've had people went to Google, they get a text, says click here to Google, G-O-O, not just G-O-O, G-O-O-O, Google. Be very aware of the address that they're trying to bring you to.
And another thing that was mentioned about Social Security, and I'll share a story on this, and maybe you guys had the same experience. So I'm filling out all my, I had to do an interview with Social Security so I can start collecting, right? So I wait until I'm 70 so I get the maximum amount. So I do the interview over the phone. They tell me, okay, you're going to start get your first check, coming August, all that. And then they send me in the mail a transcript of that entire phone conversation, that interview I had with them. And wouldn't you know it, in that transcript, there's my Social Security number, the whole number. And this is coming from Social Security. So, even
Through the mail.
Yeah, through the mail. And if that fell into the wrong person's hands, they would have had my Social Security number, the whole number. My identity could have been stolen. So how do you fight it? And this is Social Security, and we're all going through that. And that's what happens. So you never could be. You have to be so mindful of all these little things to stay safe.
Chips. I
Just-
saw the smile.
I looked at my email just now. I have a scam email coming into the sheriff's office, wanting us to sign up for a service that we already have. But the information, this guy says, I'm your new salesperson. Please, and it asks a lot of personal information, or I should say personal, information from the sheriff's office that would give them our account numbers. So they're even reaching out to law enforcement now. So I guess, like you said, you can't make some of this stuff up.
That's a lot of drugs. All right, let's watch this last video.
More Americans than ever rely on alarm systems, gates, or doorbell cameras to help protect their families. But statistically, you are now more likely to be the victim of theft online than a physical break-in at home. A new report from the FBI reveals that Americans lost more than $10 billion last year to online scams and digital fraud. People in their 30s, who are among the most connected online, filed the most complaints. But we were surprised to learn the group that loses the most money to scammers is seniors. Tonight, we will show you how cyber con artists are using artificial intelligence, widely available apps, and social engineering to target our parents and grandparents. Steve Savage, a retired scientist, was scammed when he opened a fake email from the Geek Squad.
The email said that your bank account is being charged $399 for another year. And I'm like, wait a minute, I don't remember it being anywhere close to that.
The customer service number went to a scammer posing as a representative of the company. Savage was duped out of $14,000. Esther Maestre was scammed too. The retired nurse says an alarm sounded on her iPad with a message to call tech support. She did.
He said that last night between 4 and 9 p.m. your bank account has been hacked.
And your heart probably stopped.
I felt so nervous. But he said, I am going to transfer you to another guy who is a security at Chase Bank.
The fake bank employee told her hackers might be able to access her bank account and instructed her to immediately withdraw money and deposit it into a new account for safekeeping. Maestra did and lost $11,000. And have you been able to recover any of your money?
Nothing.
Okay.
I'm the one that pulled the money out of the bank, so I won't be reimbursed.
So I heard comments over here. Heard comments over here. Oh, no, don't do it, right? Why would you do that, right? But when you're in the heat of the moment, you have that weight on your shoulders, you make bad choices. Slow down, ask somebody, use the smell test. If it doesn't make sense to you, when you say it out loud to somebody else, you might realize yourself what a scam it is. And if not, that individual will be able to tell you if it follows the typical path of a scam, and therefore save you from entering that. Gentlemen, anything you want to say before we close up? Yes, sir.
I have a little story that we haven't heard yet here, but we need to be careful in how we dial the number when we call an institution or some sort. I'm going to tell you a little story that happened to me last year. I made a double payment, a mistake, to this vendor, and then I wanted to delete one payment, but I couldn't find a way to delete that one payment. Nothing wrong with that, I just made two payments. So I figure I called the vendor. So I looked in my card, and I had a number, but I made a mistake. Instead of dialing 888 in the number, I dialed 800 in the number. It was the same number. They answered, "Can we help you?" Right away, I said, you know, they usually say who they are and they can we help you. But it was just, can we help you? And I told them what I was trying to do is delete one payment, or we can help you with that. Give us the account number. And I said, but you already had the account number. But I was the one who called them, so I couldn't figure that it was wrong. So I gave them the account number. And they wanted more information, my address, blah, 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 blah. He said, why do you need all this information? I said, well, we have to do it to process this situation. So I did. I gave them all the information they needed because I wasn't thinking that I was calling the right vendor. I hung up and I said, this doesn't sound right. So right away, I went to my bank, told them what happened. I put a stop on my account. And sure enough, when I realized I made a mistake in calling the number, when I called the 888 number, they answered who they were, what's the problem. I told them, I said, well, so be careful in how we dial those numbers, because sometimes the same number that they use for that vendor is not always true if you make the one mistake.
Scam artists are some of the most patient people that have to be out there. They are willing to invest years and several thousands, if not millions of dollars into perpetrating their scams. They absolutely know 800 numbers or 888 numbers, and they will fake those numbers. And you're right, they'll answer hello. They won't say, hi, this is Southern Chautauqua Federal Credit Union. That's your first flag. But again, you had a purpose. You were like, I called them, I need this money back, and we lose sight of what's going on around us. Slow down, talk to somebody else. If it's a family member, take it with a grain of salt. I hate to say that. Come and talk to the banks, the credit unions, the sheriff's department, the other agencies that we have available.
One last thought, if I might share with everyone, is you've heard the story of the Good Samaritan, right? Everybody's familiar with the story of the Good Samaritan from the Bible?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we were all here today. We heard all this very valuable information. So guess what? Now I think it's our responsibility to be a good Samaritan and to share what we learned with someone back home. Maybe someone who could not come today that we know, or someone that is homebound and can't get out. Share what you learned with them, because just think how you feel if you share that information and you save them from losing thousands of dollars of their life savings in a scam. You're going to feel wonderful that you did that. So I always share that with folks when I do these sessions, is to be a good Samaritan now and share what you learned with someone that's in the family or in a nursing home or who's homebound. Do you have any final thoughts?
I think I've said it, just don't be afraid to give us a call. You know? And we may not always have the answer, but we can take a report and we can direct it to the right people, whether it's, you know, Secret Service, you know, elder law, whoever it is. We'll reach out and do what we can to get answers and to investigate. And hopefully we find out it is nothing. And we say, you're going to be okay.
What's your number?
What's my number? Well, it depends on how big and important it is. It's really important, 911. But it's the non-emergency number is 753-2132. 753-2132. That'll give you the dispatch number.
For a moment, I thought you were wondering if Jim was going to have dinner with you.
Dessert. Apple pie?
Well, try to find phone numbers
Yeah, I know.
on anything.
Well, I'm gonna be, this is gonna be dangerous, but I think everybody in this room knows what a phone book is. We talk to like teenagers, they're like, phone book? What is that? So,
So in closing, Jim Cassini is my community development officer, community impact officer. He's something.
I'm something already.
We literally spend thousands of hours a year out doing education. We'll come to your church group, we'll come to your social groups, we'll come to anything where we can get people together to talk about raising the standard of living. Most of you probably know this, 10th poorest county in all New York State, that's Chautauqua County. We're gonna change that, we can change that, we're working on that, right? Education is key to that. Protecting everybody is key to that. That's what we're here for, that's what we're gonna do. If you have an opportunity for us to come out and speak to a group, reach out to us, we'll do it. This space is available at extremely low cost because we want people to come together and work together and educate each other. So thank you all for coming. If you have other ideas of things that we could address, please.
Do you have a card you can give me?
I do, I'll get one, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, did you guys have any last comments before we?
I'd just like to reiterate that prevention is the best way to help with these scams. Even if the Secret Service or the Sheriff's Department, even if they can't track down the person that did the scamming, there's a pretty good chance that you're not going to be able to get any money from them because they have already spent it. You can't get blood from a stone. So it's always best to prevent it, spread the word, talk to your friends, your family, and educate them, and just spread the knowledge around so that folks can prevent the scams rather than trying to recover from them.
Good point, and coming from the Secret Service side, law enforcement is your resource. The sheriff did say, obviously you have the non-emergency number that he put out there. We get calls from from Erie County Sheriff and the Adair County Sheriff on a regular basis. It comes through dispatch. If you've been scammed or you're about to get scammed, ask them. They certainly have no problem reaching out to us to help them through the little more complicated cases, or if we have to do something called the kill chain, like the money's already put out there and we have a certain amount of time. I mean, we've recovered funds that have gone overseas, and if we can get to it in time, so don't be afraid, don't be embarrassed. The Samaritan thing is something we like to say in all our presentations too, is that you have this knowledge now, and I'm not saying it's robust and abundant, but just have a dinner conversation with your family members. Hey, I went to this presentation today, this is what I learned. And if they can learn one thing or prevent one type of scam, and they'll pass it on, we're all going to be better off.
Actually, one nice thing too is think about it. Tom came down, the Secret Service is stretched thin these days. They're protecting all the candidates, the whole bit. He found time to get away, to come down and share with us today. So I think we really appreciate that.
The only thing I would say is don't be embarrassed to ask somebody. Don't give personal information over the phone. My reply is, well, you're calling me, you should have this information already. I'm not giving you my social security number, I'm not giving you my account number. If that's the case, I get in my car, I drive down to my banking institution and say, hey, I just received this phone call, did it come from your bank? A lot of times they say no. A couple times, oh yeah, we were just verifying that you did make this purchase. But they never asked for any information. They just said, did you make this purchase of X amount of dollars at this? No, not me. And they'll freeze your account. What they like to do is they'll go in and they'll take, let's say they get your debit card number or credit card number, they'll go in and make a purchase for like $5 and see if it goes through. The next one might be $15 or $20. They do it a couple times, they get their money, the next thing you know, they have your information, they're going to drain your bank account. So be very leery about somebody asking personal information on the phone.
one last plug for Southern Chautauqua. If you're scammed and you gotta shut your debit card down, I heard somebody say they had to wait 10 days. At Southern Chautauqua, you wait 10 minutes because we print them at each and every
I
location.
had to wait 10 days for my card.
10 minutes. Okay?
Uh-oh.
Thank you all for coming.
We have to get Robert to change. He needs to change to a credit union.
Thank you all for coming. Again, spread the word. We're here to help. We're happy to come out to whatever locations you have so we can help other individuals.
How about a round of applause for him? And if anyone has questions, our panelists will still be around, so you could feel free to approach if you have a question.
Thank you.
Great job.